everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're going to be reacting to a TikTok, and this is different than anything I've ever done, and you will see why. That's all I'm going to say, but I think it also is going to open up a bigger conversation of some things that I've wanted to talk about for a while now, so let's get into it. Okay, so this says, the best way to be wife material.
How do you portray yourself in the best way possible online?
If you want to be wife material, I would make it be known that you had curves without showing skin. There's a classy way to be sexy. The woman that's like very clearly built well, but is not showing it.
Before we go on, someone tagged me in the comment section of this over on TikTok, but only one person tagged me. And it was back in August, and I hadn't clicked on it yet. I didn't see it until last week. So I'm casually watching this, thinking that it's just a video that someone wants me to react to. And then I see a photo of myself. And then I see another photo of myself. My face turned bright red. I gasped, you guys. I was just not expecting to see myself in this video. So I think when I did, I was taken aback. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, I have to react to this. I have to share with everybody. But also I want to know, did one of you guys make this video? Like, who made this? I'm flattered to be used as the example for this. It got over 5 million views, of course. So I thought, you know what, let's bring this over to YouTube since it went viral. I think there are some things in this video that we can elaborate on. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because when I saw myself, I could not believe it. Anyway, continuing the video.
But she's still showing it, just there's clothes. It'll drive men wild. And now, if you go online and you look at a girl's account, if you can scroll down a little bit, you can see exactly what her nipples look like. I don't want a woman like that. You know why? The sacredness, which is one of the most beautiful things I believe that a woman has, is now given away.
So over 5 million people have seen that. The first photo they showed was from 2018. I was 22 years old. And the other photo was a photo with my husband that they unfortunately cropped out. He didn't make the cut. So this guy that was in the video, I actually don't know his name. And also this was posted on a different account. I don't think it was on like his account. A lot of people make these type of videos. They take content from my channel or other people's channels and they make their own little clip out of it. But wasn't this guy didn't he go on the Whatever podcast and say something like he's not loyal to one woman? Or am I mistaken? I mean, to each their own, but that doesn't really scream husband material to me. And it seems a little bit hypocritical. And of course, I don't know the full context of this conversation, and he was asked the question, so he's obviously answering. But the reason I bring that up is because there's a piece of advice that I would give all of you if you are watching me. And it would be that if you want a great girl who you would consider to be wifey material, don't be following all these Instagram thoughts or liking all their pics or like being an F-boy. If you have a good girl, treat her like a good girl. That would be my advice to you. If you want a woman who presents herself in a positive way on social media, who is not posting her nipples, as he said, for everyone to see, who is classy and elegant, then you should be demonstrating that type of behavior on your Instagram. And you should not be liking all these half-naked girls' pics or following a ton of them online, because what message does that send? I think there are also a lot of guys who say that they want, you know, a classy, elegant woman who doesn't post that kind of stuff, but then that's the content that they like on Instagram. Or they have a great girl who doesn't do that, and then they're still liking other girls' stuff. Wise up. But that leads me into this first point that I want to talk about here. And again, when I react to a video, I'm not necessarily directing everything I say at the people in the video or at the video specifically. I think it's great to use as a springboard to talk about bigger topics or other things that I've wanted to discuss. So the first thing I want to talk about is that the way you present yourself matters. You can either throw a tantrum about that or you can use it to your advantage. Things like your appearance, clothing, grooming, body language, your behavior, mannerisms, communication style, social skills, your personality, if you're extroverted or introverted, agreeableness or openness, your reputation, past actions, your achievements, or your public image. You know, if you're talking academically or professionally, your competence level, maybe this is your expertise in a specific skill or a specific field, your emotional expressions. The reason why you guys like to watch my reaction videos is because I cannot hide what I'm feeling and I show it on my face. It's just how I am. I've always been this way, but I have pretty drastic emotional expressions and responses to things. which is great for the internet, but it doesn't work that well in my real life, I'll be honest, because I cannot hide how I'm feeling, and it shows directly on my face. Which I guess is good for me being honest and holding me accountable in that, but it's sometimes awkward. But anyways, what you do with that information is entirely up to you. If I came on this channel and I dressed provocatively all the time, or I posted scantily photos online, people would most likely perceive me in a different way. The same way that if I got on here in an old ugly t-shirt, my pajamas, my hair not done, my makeup not done, looking like I put no effort into my appearance, again, that would make people perceive me in a different way. The way that you present yourself matters and makes a difference. Now, whether people are right or wrong in their assumptions is a completely different story, but you can't entirely blame someone for making an initial impression. It is human nature to do so. I do it, and I'm sure most of you do it as well. So my advice would be present yourself in a way that reflects your values and something that you're proud of. This is obviously going to vary depending on what that looks like for you as an individual, but I think it's important to know. If I was an Instagram thought and I was showing everything to everybody, that doesn't create any room for imagination or mystery at all. And I have to think my husband would not have married me if I was a girl like that. And there are plenty of men who would marry a girl like that. I wouldn't want to be with one of them. I wouldn't want to be with a man who wanted to be with a woman like that. That's just not me. But again, we're different, so that's something to keep in mind as well. This video went viral, like I said. It got over 5 million views the last time I looked at it. It might be more now, I don't know. If all these men are telling women, hey, I like when women dress a little bit, classy and elegant and don't show so much skin because it shows me, it's a signal that she respects herself. Whether that's true or not is a different story, but initial impression is, oh, this girl is classy, she respects herself. Women have the option to either listen to that information or not. They have the option to implement that into their life or not. A lot of women will hear that and dress the complete opposite because they are so against everything that men say. What they do is up to them, but men are allowed to want that and are allowed to say that. The same way women tell men, hey, I like when men put effort into their appearance or, their grooming habits, things like that, because it shows me that he takes care of himself. Men can either listen or not. Nobody's forcing you to do it, but I think it's helpful to hear from the opposite side what we're looking for. And I think that's where my channel can add a lot of value, is providing a woman's perspective on things. Whether you agree with me or not, whether you do it or not, up to you. Take it or leave it, right? But it can be helpful. If I tell you in a video, hey, women really like it when you trim your nails and keep your nails clean, and you comment on my video, I'm not keeping my hands clean for a woman, that's fine. You don't have to. I'm not forcing you to, but it's helpful information to know. So another common theme in the comment section was men saying, yes, I've been saying this forever and women don't listen to me. Like, why do women have such a problem with hearing what men want? So I want to dive into this and I want to talk about this a little bit further. Women will hear something like this and often say things like, that's so controlling, or he's so insecure. This is often the response I see from women when men talk about what they want in a woman or their preferences, especially when they talk about the way women dress. If they say, oh, I like a woman who dresses classy, that's controlling, or it makes the guy insecure somehow. And I want to give an example here that I wouldn't say is a true double standard. I think it's a little hypocritical, but I don't necessarily think it's a double standard. I think double standards are something that it's the exact same thing, but it's like okay when one person does it and not the other. But in this instance, they're a little bit different. Women say a lot, men shouldn't be liking provocative photos of women online. I tell you guys that. But when men say they don't want their woman to post provocative photos online or dress that way, then all of a sudden there's an issue. Like, a woman can tell her man, you shouldn't be following these girls on Instagram or liking their photos, but then she posts the exact photos that she gets mad at him for liking. Again, I don't think that's a true double standard because it's different things. But I would say, don't be a hypocrite. And that's just one of the many examples that I can give. That's one that I see a lot. But my point is that you can't cherry pick what works in your favor and then ignore everything else that doesn't. Women talk online all the time about what they want in men, and a lot of the time it's far more unreasonable or superficial than anything that was stated in this video. Men are allowed to have preferences too and talk about what they like in women. And I actually think this could be really beneficial to women if we would just listen. We don't have to agree, but we can listen and we can be respectful of someone else's preferences and opinions. Because women have some preferences in men, a lot of them do, that they post online that are not so great. But anyways, back to the whole controlling and insecure thing. Of course, it can be controlling or stem from insecurity depending on the situation and the context. But there's a big difference between trying to control someone and simply having a preference or setting a boundary in a relationship. And I want to quickly mention the difference between controlling and setting boundaries, because I think this is something that got brought up in the instance of the Jonah Hill situation, which I never made a comment on back when it happened. I try not to be so hasty and rushed in my responses to things, because I think sometimes we don't have all the information. But I think this idea of what is controlling versus what is setting a boundary can be confusing for a lot of people, and often because the line is kind of fine. So I want to try to explain that. Setting boundaries is about establishing limits or guidelines for yourself or your relationships to protect your own well-being or your personal space or your values. It's a healthy practice that promotes self-respect and healthy interactions. So that's one thing, that's setting boundaries. But on the other hand, being controlling involves exerting some sort of power or authority over another person, which often comes with an excessive desire for dominance or manipulation. And again, let's remember, not just men have the ability to be controlling, women can be controlling too. And it's equally as bad when both genders do it. But being controlling disregards someone's free will and their feelings, and it often leads to really unhealthy dynamics and strained relationships. Controlling behavior seeks to assert some sort of control or restrict on someone's freedom. And again, sometimes it can seem like there's kind of a thin line between setting boundaries and being controlling. So I see how people can get them a little bit mixed up and find it confusing. And also, sometimes people aren't being controlling out of being malicious. It's just, it could be a trauma response. It could be how they were raised. It could be the way they've seen relationships, their relationship patterns. They might not even realize that they're doing it. They might think they're setting a boundary when in reality, they're being a little bit manipulative and controlling. So it's not always a malicious thing or something that someone is using to be insidious or anything like that. But I think it is helpful to be aware of, just so that you can kind of check yourself and make sure, okay, I'm setting a boundary. I'm not being controlling. But in terms of why some women think that men speaking about, the way women dress is controlling or insecure, is because sometimes trying to control someone's appearance or how they show up in the world can often be an attempt to control our own emotional experience. If someone is acting out of line with your personal preferences, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can slap the boundaries label on it. You can absolutely communicate how you're feeling and have an open conversation and work through that together or come to a compromise. But generally speaking, you should accept people as they are and not try to change them. And if you're not okay with who they are or how they're showing up, you can not date them or explore your own feelings and try to work through that. You don't need to control or change someone to feel better. And changing someone shouldn't be one of your options. I think all this does is breed inauthenticity and resentment in a relationship, which leads me to my next point that I want to talk about, which is that you should be with people or date people who have values that align with yours, so that you aren't in a position where you feel like you need to change someone, and you're able to communicate and work through things and come to compromises. Again, compromises where both people come to a compromise. And to be with someone who you respect and who respects you in return. I've also seen a lot of content online talking about, should the person you're dating be able to control what you wear? And it's difficult, because I think in a relationship, you obviously need to have respect for each other and be with someone who respects you and who you respect in return. But that's another reason why I think it's so important to be with someone who you are aligned with and who you're not trying to change. Because I don't think trying to change someone is necessarily healthy. I think you can challenge the person you're with, and you can help each other grow and things like that, but they have to want to change themselves. It can't just be you trying to control everything about them, what they wear or what they do. I don't think that you should be able to control what your partner wears. I think you should just be with someone who you have a mutual respect with and who you align with on things like that. And you don't have to have everything in common with the people that you date. Actually, I'd recommend that you don't. It's good to have a little differentiation, but you should be aligned on the things that contribute to the longevity and the health of your relationship, or at least be at a point where you're willing to be respectful and open-minded and able to work through disagreements or conflict with them. Again, because you shouldn't try to change people into a mold of what you want them to be. You have to accept people as they are. But really what I wanted to do here is show both sides, because I think a lot of time, again, as I mentioned, women will hear this and they go to the extreme of this is controlling, this is insecure, why are men talking about what women are wearing, yada, yada, yada. Not every single man who says he likes a woman who dresses classy is saying that to be controlling. Like, that could just be his preference. The way, a woman stating, oh, she wants a man to be financially independent, that doesn't automatically mean that she's a gold digger. We don't automatically need to go to the extremes and cling to that. I think we can often meet somewhere in the middle and come to a balanced, logical approach. If someone you're dating is not aligned with you on your values or your morals, or you feel like they're representing themselves on social media in a way that does not fit into your life, you can just choose not to be with them. That should be a sign right there that you're just not compatible. If that is so important to you, it should be a sign that you are not compatible. I would not want to be married to a man who had an OnlyFans account, so then I wouldn't date a man who had an OnlyFans account and try to change him into someone who does not have an OnlyFans account. I would accept him for who he is, which is a man with an OnlyFans account, and say, you know what? We're not compatible, because I'm not okay with that. Next. But back to the video we reacted to, I think people do make assumptions about you and have a first initial impression about you because of the way that you present yourself and the way that you show up online. Our, online profiles, whether we like it or not, are kind of a reflection of who we are. It's our personal branding, as silly and dumb as that is. Social media is a big part of our lives today. And I think that if you know this information, again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to scrub your account and be a completely different person. I'm just telling you the information. You can take it, you can leave it, you can use it to your advantage, you cannot. You do you. But I think it's important to show up authentically so that you attract people who are attracted to the authentic you. Also, again, just thought it was funny that I was in this video and I was not expecting it at all, and it got so many views. So I wanted to give my take on it, wanted to use this as a way to talk about some other topics that I've been wanting to bring onto my channel, and do it in a way that, is entertaining, obviously, because we're reacting, but also gives you the information that you need. Let me know down in the comments what you think is someone who is wifey material or husband material. I would love to hear your perspectives and opinions down in the comment section. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. If you have any content you want me to react to, you can always tag me or send it my way, and I will be happy to deliver. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.